This video will help you increase your speaking points by at least 2 to 4 points. Why I say this is because we're going to cover 10 tips, secrets, hacks that people almost always get wrong. And I know this because I point this out always on feedback. Whenever I hear speaking recordings, these are the things that most of you get wrong. And if you're just missing the point in CELPIP by one, this will improve that. This will instantly fix that. So if you're ready to improve your CLB level by 2 to 4 points, watch till the end of this video. Now, the first thing is people saying ums. This happens all the time. People use ums almost in every sentence. Just don't. Simple. That's the tip. Don't say ums. Ums are fillers that destroy your marks in English. It shows lack of confidence, and it shows that you're unable to use good and complex words. That's why you're using ums. So don't use ums. Instead, use connectors like furthermore, likewise, moreover, thereby, therefore, hence. However, nonetheless, nevertheless, although. Use connectors instead of ums, and that'll save you a ton of marks. The next common mistake is you not pausing, because some friend told you, hey, if you pause, it shows that you're not fluent. Fluency and pauses are very different, and pauses have marks. Between sentences, between points, you want to pause for 1 to 1.5 seconds max. When you pause, you show confidence to the examiner, and this helps you gain your marks for a tone. It also helps you think about the next point you're about to say. Pausing does great things. I can make a complete video on pausing and its impact, but just remember, pause whenever a major point is done or a major sentence is done. Take a breath too. It helps with the tone mark, and it shows a ton of confidence not only in CELPIP but in any speaking exam in English you ever do. Tip number 3 is using adjectives, and this has two benefits. One is you get your mark for a range of vocab when you use adjectives like great, magnificent, terrific, detrimental. Adjectives are qualities, so you are able to describe your points better by using adjectives. Secondly, you're gonna emphasize every time you express a quality. This piece of equipment was wonderful. This was terrific. When you do that, your volume goes up, your emphasis becomes better, and you get marks for that. So now you're hitting 2 marks with adjectives, range of vocab, and you're getting the expressions, emphasis, tone. You're getting the mark for the tone overall as well. Tip number 4 is you don't want to do too many points. This is a common mistake with question number 2, where you're asked to describe something, best experience, best movie, or so on. You got 1 minute. The examiners are not expecting you to give them 10 to 20 points in a minute. A lot of you think that if we do 10 to 20 points, we're gonna score high because we can talk so much. Talking so much is not as important as the quality of what you say. Having 2 to 4 points, write this down or remember this, 2 to 4 points is all you need in all CELPIP questions, except for the picture questions. We'll talk about that later. But 2 to 4 points max is what examiners are expecting you to say in 60 seconds or 90 seconds, not more. Just make sure your 2 to 4 points are well defined, they have good quality, good expressions, good wordings, free of mistakes. And another thing is when you have 2 to 4 points that you're describing well, you're able to use long sentences, complex sentences. It's just simple. If you have 1 minute and you have 10 sentences, each sentence is going to be short. Now, if you have 1 minute, you have 2 to 4 main points or 2 to 4 sentences. Each sentence can be long, and you need those complex sentences as well as simple, combination of 2, to get a good score. This is one of the main requirements in both writing and speaking. So you hit marks only if you do lesser points, not more in those areas. And again, 2 to 4 quality points, way better and way more marks than 10 points cheaply explained without quality. The next thing is being realistic. If you are talking to a person, let's say you're talking to Bob and you're giving him a bunch of suggestions, talk to Bob as if he or she was a real person. Now, you would say to Bob, hey, I know that gym that's across your street. It's just a block away. You can literally go there and work out. Now, this shows the examiner you are being realistic, and it relaxes you as well, keeps you in control, gives you more points to speak on as well. If you talk like a computer, if you talk like AI, where you say, hey, Bob, going to the gym is a great thing. Gym has benefits such as this. It is not realistic. It looks made up. It looks like you're in an exam, and the examiner is trying to gauge if you can talk to a real person properly. So Insert some real expressions. You can make those up or literally think about a real person, and these points will flow naturally. Hack number 6 is to watch for tone. Don't be monotone, be natural. Talk like a native speaker, use emphasis. The tip I gave you earlier about using adjectives is going to help you to achieve that, but make sure to also just be natural throughout. Think of how you speak normally to a friend or family member and just speak like that. This is a common mistake from people, not being natural, being robotic, and losing a ton of marks. The next thing I want to talk about is timing. When we have really good students who go into the exam and they score less, or we get requests saying that, hey, we scored less, I don't know why, other modules were really good, but here we scored less. One thing I see in common, and this is why it's considered a major mistake, is that student has missed time on one question or more, which means the time ran out and you were not able to finish up with your conclusion. Timing is very important. So a good tip is the 5-second rule. Try to finish 5 seconds before the actual finish time. Once you do this, you will realize you will still take up 2 to 3 more seconds. But if you finish at the exact time that is your target, you will almost always exceed that. The speaking time is not much, so time management is important. So practice finishing on time because it is considered a major mistake. The next tip is using examples. To say, for example, for instance, and explain things, it's not 100% important. It's mentioned nowhere on the marking criteria. You don't have to use examples. It's good if you do. But if you pressurize yourself too much to use examples, what happens is you are thinking about that. You're thinking of it in terms of, hey, I have to do this. You're no longer going to be natural. And most examples consume a lot of time, and mostly they're useless, not contributing to your marks, content, or overall description, range of vocab, and so on. So what I recommend is for the 90-second questions, question number 1 and question number 7, you can use examples. They are 90 seconds long. You will not run into the timing issue. But with shorter questions, 60 seconds, avoid it because you will most likely just keep rambling on about the example. It'll consume all your time, take up all your opportunities of saying better things, and you wouldn't even be able to finish the conclusion. So avoid giving, for example, and feeling it's mandatory. If the example is flowing in naturally, it's short, simple, and can be explained nicely. If it will enrich your content and your explanation, give it, but it's not mandatory. Don't force yourself to do that. Now, our last few points covered timing in a lot of detail because it's a major mistake. If you miss time, you're going to lose marks. But how you ensure you don't overdo the conclusion is by saying 3 words, and this is my 3-word rule. Look, at the end, you want to do a conclusion at the end of every question to show the examiner that you're done. It also concludes the structure, so the structure has marks when at the end you actually give a conclusion, showing that you have wrapped it up nicely, and you want to get it done before the timing. But when you have 5 seconds left, or even 3 seconds, and you want to do a whole sentence of conclusion, that's where people run out of time. So this is the major problem. Now, if you just say, let me know, or talk to you soon, or take care, 2 to 4 words, but mostly it's 3 words. What I like to say is let me know. In the questions where you're talking to a real person, let's say question number 1, question number 6, etc., let me know. Or if it's something else that you don't want to be told about, you can't say let me know. You can say talk to you soon. Take care. Even see ya. See ya is a 1-second, 2-worded thing that you have to do at the end. There should be no excuse that you cannot do that. So ensure you remember these quality words, these words that can save you the headache of doing a complete conclusion, and that'll help you finish off every answer that has to do with talking to people. When it's not about talking to people, you could say something like, that's all, or I hope I have explained this well. That also just takes 1.5 seconds. It's a few more words, but in a picture question or in part 8 or part 7, where you're sometimes not talking to a person, you can just say, I hope I have explained this well. Simple, few, short words with small syllables that will finish off your conclusion nicely. Now, the last thing is, details are important in the picture questions. I said earlier, we'll come to this later about the picture thing, because I said in all questions you need 2 to 4 points max, which is absolutely true, absolutely enough. When it comes to pictures though, questions 3, 4, 5, and 8. The more you explain, the better. Especially in question number 5, if you cover all the points of your side versus the other side, you're going to get a lot of marks. So with picture questions, try to cover as much as you can in detail. You will score more if you can cover the entire picture. And a great way to do this is to first identify 3 to 4 main things that you just cannot miss. Like these ones I have to talk about. And if you're running out of time, at least you got the 3 to 4 in. But now if you have bonus time, you can cover thing number 5, thing number 6, and get all the marks for that. So remember that strategy. Let's go a little bit more detail in pictures. With all other questions though, 2 to 4 points are enough. By using these tips, tricks, and hacks, these 10 specific tips, you will have 10 less mistakes that almost 90% candidates have when I give them feedback. So there you go. This is a free resource for you without me having to say this in your feedback. But hey, if you're still concerned, if you want to make sure that you're scoring the best marks, send us your speaking recordings via email. Email is in the description. We give you free feedback within 24 hours. Check out also our top selling, internet's best selling CELPIP course that guarantees your marks or all your money back. You will score 10 plus with this course, guaranteed. Check it out in the description. All files, videos, sample videos, and reviews are included right now at a 20% discount. Check it out. We'll talk soon.